Yes, sir. Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome to another video. By the way, I am still sick, so if I look like absolute crap, which I actually feel like I look worse than I did yesterday, yeah, it's because I'm sick. So I'm sorry. I'm trying my best to heal. I'm trying. By the way, I do want to touch on something. It's very interesting how every time I put out a video going after the grifters, I get all these complaints. Make better content. Stop attacking them. Your content's trash. You do the same stuff. And it's just like, I don't know if these are trolls or these people just don't watch all the videos. I don't know what's going on here. But if you look at my content for the last month, I've made a lot more videos talking about the market, like way more than grifters. Like there's actually been weeks go by where I haven't talked about a single grifter. So I don't know where this is coming from, where people are like, oh, you just consistently make videos about grifters. You're terrible. Like, no, I don't actually. I've actually made real stock market videos with what I think is valuable information. So I don't get it, but maybe they're trolls. I don't know. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into an actual stock market video. And what I really want to talk about in this video, guys, is this whole situation with Britain. And the reason why is because the concerns that are happening in the UK are starting to carry over into the US. Now, US officials are literally getting concerned to the point where they're having secret closed door spooky alien meetings and all that stuff. Like, I'm not even joking. They're really doing it. I'm about to get into that later in the video. But let me first talk about this, guys. So the yield on Britain's 10-year gilt, you guys know that's their bond, as well as the pound responded positively as investors welcome both the U-turn as on the UK fiscal plan, as well as Liz Truss officially resigning as the prime minister of the UK. Now, for those who don't know, she was basically forced to resign because, yeah, it's just been a mess. Now, she's actually one of the shortest serving. Actually, no, she is the shortest serving prime minister ever. I think she's only been in office for like 45 days or something like that. And yeah, I'm sure you guys understand the story, right? For those who don't, I'll give the recap. You had the failed tax cutting budget that triggered a sell off in the gilts market, as well as the British pound. This led to a revolt within our own Conservative Party, and it also led to the Bank of England, which we have to give the Bank of England their credit. The Bank of England forced the government to hold themselves accountable. How did they do that? The Bank of England said, okay, we'll intervene, but we're not going to intervene as long as you think. We're going to intervene for a very small amount of time just so everything doesn't absolutely collapse. But no, you have to be accountable for this, not us. So the Bank of England stepped in for a little bit, and then they immediately took the support away. They're like, screw this. And now this forced some of the things that you're saying, like Liz Truss resigning. So that is very interesting. Now, next updates, you do have a leadership vote to be completed next week. So we will eventually find out who the new prime minister is. Now, here's where we get to the interesting parts. This UK thing is causing concerns within our own United States government and the Federal Reserve. Here's what I mean by that. Article right here by the New York Times. The president of the St. Louis Fed, James Bullard, you guys know him, spoke at a closed press conference off the record. He spoke at a closed door, off the record, invite only, exclusive event that was hosted by Citigroup, which, by the way, Citigroup also asked their clients to attend it as well. They didn't have any press. They didn't even tell the press they were doing this. The press had to find out on their own. And basically, Bullard wasn't even compensated for the speech, but he appeared and he ended up being in front of a bunch of Wall Street investors. Why was one of the Fed governors having a secret closed door meeting, which, by the way, the Fed doesn't normally do? That's not common at all. It's actually very rare. Why was he having this secret closed door meeting last Friday with a bunch of Wall Street investors? Well, I'll get to that. Members of the Fed have been meeting with investors on what might be poised to break. So they're asking investors, what do you all think is going to break in this economy? We see what's going on in the UK. We do not want that to happen here. What do you guys think is going to happen? That's literally what happened. So Fed officials like Bullard also asked about the Treasury market and if that's possibly a sign of things to come. And also at the Citi event, Bullard also reiterated his view that another large 75 basis point rate hike increase could be appropriate in the month of December. Fed officials and staffers, this is a whole nother article in the New York Times. Fed officials and staffers also spent last week quizzing market participants about the risk of a financial accident in the United States post UK. And here's where it gets interesting. So did the White House. It wasn't just the Fed that asked Wall Street what's going on here. The White House asked too. Everybody's scared about what just happened in the UK, the absolute chaos, the absolute mess that we saw. And they do not want to see that be repeated in the United States. So now they're having these super secret Illuminati behind the closed doors, red hoods, and the secret weird dungeons in Antarctica meetings to figure out what the heck is going on and how they can avoid it. Now, here's something very interesting that caught my attention in this New York Times article. It says right here, multiple administration officials said that they expected that the Fed would step in to buy bonds just as the Bank of England did in the case of an emergency. What does that mean? That means these multiple administration officials are saying they expect the Fed to pivot immediately, quickly. Now, I do want to say they do expect the Fed's pivot to be temporary. At least that's what I interpreted from the article. But they're saying that if we get some sort of emergency in the markets like what we saw in the UK, the Fed could actually pivot to save it. So that's basically what they're saying. Biden also pressed his team to estimate the likelihood that the United States could experience another 2008 style shock on Wall Street. Now, I want to make this very clear. I don't think that the times we're in are like 2008. And I know people get mad when people say that the times are like 2008. But now I'm starting to get the little side eye. Now I'm starting to raise an eyebrow. Because why is the Biden administration asking the likelihood that we could experience another 2008 style shock on Wall Street? Something you got to ask yourself. It says right here, Treasury Secretary Janet L. Yellen and her deputies have been closely monitoring developments in the market for U.S. government debt and searching for any signs of British-style stress. So basically, this whole thing with the UK market and the gilts and the pound have traumatized the U.S. Like the U.S. is like, oh, heck no. Oh, heck no. We can't do this. So now they're having these closed-door meetings and things like this to figure out what's going on. Now, the last thing I do want to talk about is earnings. I just want to say, just be careful, folks. Don't get caught up too much. I mean, so far, earnings do look okay. They don't look nearly as bad as people thought. There's no doubt about that. Obviously, Tesla, wah. Snapchat getting smoked in after hours right now. But again, it's early. We still haven't seen the biggest companies in the world, the main market-moving companies report earnings yet. So that's what I'm personally waiting for. So don't jump the gun too much. I mean, I know the banks did okay and some other companies are doing fine, which is good. Don't get me wrong, that's good. But just don't jump the gun, folks, okay? That's my only spiel on earnings. I'll wait to see what happens. And so, yeah, there you guys have it. That'll go conclude today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one.